Welcome back, everybody. Caffeine kicks in. Everybody ready and awake? All right, so it's just the turn of the hour, so good afternoon, everybody. Slowly warming up, are we? It is the delegates sardi after all. So we hope AISS is serving as a great platform to catch up with people, to have those conversations that you've probably not had for a while. Everybody enjoying the atmosphere? Yeah? Okay, so now we head towards the first set of keynote sessions for today. For the very first keynote, we'd like to extend a very warm welcome to Sandeep Arora, Director Government Affairs and Public Policy, Microsoft. He's going to be speaking about securing more with less cybersecurity strategies for CISOs in 2023. Please put your hands together with a warm round of applause for Sandeep. Over to you.
Good morning, or about to be good afternoon, all of you. Happy to be here, delighted to be part of this gathering. And I think as I start, one of the key things we all in the room have in common is we are trying to bring cybersecurity in the middle of the conversation versus it being a fringe thing or a niche thing. And wherever I go, I tell everyone I meet that we need to stop treating cybersecurity as a vertical which needs to be addressed or handled. It is a horizontal, it's the base case, it cuts across everything we do now as our lives become more digital. So I think looking forward to collaborate with all of you going forward. As we make sure that cybersecurity becomes the attention it needs, takes the attention it needs. And obviously, we all put together our hearts, minds, and souls to make sure that our online internet, our businesses, our citizens are safe and secure, okay? So I'll start with, should I click facing? Facing here, okay. Okay, so I'll, start my talk with a little bit of what we publish as a Microsoft Digital Defense Report. This is an annual report we publish, which brings out the landscape on cybersecurity, what's going on, how the threats are evolving, how threat actors are evolving, what are the key themes we are seeing. And this report is available. I encourage all of you to download the report and read through it. But I'll cover a few aspects of the report as I go through. And about the report, if you look at the report itself, there are about 132 contributors from Microsoft. There are 5 chapters. And I think what the report does is it synthesizes our knowledge. So from our vantage point, we synthesize about 43 trillion signals every day using the best of the tools available. There are over 8,000 engineers, researchers, data scientists working on making sure that we remain cyber secure, and about 15,000 plus partners who help Microsoft make this happen. And broadly, if you look at it, what have we achieved? 37 billion plus email threats blocked, 34 billion plus identity threats blocked, and about 2.5 billion endpoint signals are analyzed every day to reach this stage, okay? So I'll out of the 5 chapters of the MDDR, I'll not cover all of them. I'll briefly cover 3 chapters, 2-3 slides each, and encourage you to read the full report later on. So the key chapters are state of cybercrime, nation-state threats, devices, our readiness and cyber influence operations. And if you look at the state of cybercrime, what we are seeing currently is ransomware and extortion are becoming a national level threat, nation level threat, many nations facing it. We are not immune. In fact, from the signals we detect, India actually is less prone to attacks so far. There are less overall attacks happening, lesser on India compared to other countries. But that is not a point where we become complacent. I think it's just being fortunate that we are being attacked less compared to other nations. But the point is, this gives an opportunity for us to be ready faster, be prepared, because the attacks will come, they will happen. So if you look at the normal human-operated ransomware targeting rate, these guys start targeting about 2,500 organizations, and from there they are able to drill down to one victim. But the idea that every time a victimization happens is, what we see is that there are insufficient controls on privilege access and internal movement. And I think the basic hygiene doesn't get done, and I think that leads to these vulnerabilities, right? And if you look at the phishing threat landscape, about 710 phishing emails are blocked every week. And from a time a phishing attack happens, the median time it takes for attacker to access the private data is an hour, 12 minutes. And then within an hour, 42 minutes, they are crawling all over your internal systems, right? So I think it's very, very less time, and hence very, very important that we remain prepared and make sure that our systems are in place, in check, and basic cyber hygiene is being taken care of. From a botnet standpoint, we started an organization a few years ago called the Digital Crimes Unit, and DCU tracks and neutralizes botnets across the globe, and they have been successful in neutralizing botnets, and hence botnet attacks at very, very regular frequent intervals. And this is like the history, and I'll not go through it in detail, but you can read through it on which all botnets were taken down in which year by our Digital Crimes Unit. The second key emerging theme is nation-state threats. And we are seeing increasingly nation-sponsored attackers trying to attack an so-called enemy state, or they are phishing across multiple organizations or critical infrastructure in other countries. And many of these attackers are very, very patient. We have seen that they keep at it for multiple years before launching an attack. So you could see something happening for 3, 4, 5 years, and suddenly an attack happens. And if you look at the landscape from a nation-state standpoint, the attacks emerging from and the groups within each country. So we have obviously North Korea and Iran and Russia and China as the main countries where we see a lot of these groups operating from, and kind of doing multi-country crawling and attacks. And if you look at the sectors they attack, this is very important and pertinent to note. Information technology at 22%. Who would think think tanks and NGOs would get attacked? But that's at 17%. Education, obviously government, and I think from India's standpoint, the IT sector being one of the key pillars of our economy, and it being one of the key targets of these nation-state attacks, very, very important that we as a country, all the organizations at government, all our PSUs, we remain very, very vigilant and make sure that we have absolutely excellent cybersecurity practices. We have had a recent example. We all read about the attack at AIMS, the cyber attack, and I think that tells us that there are inherent vulnerabilities within our key sectors, and we need to make sure that whatever needs to be done to safeguard them is done. Then, from a devices and infra standpoint, I think as we look at proliferation of digitization, as more and more devices get connected, we talk about IoT, it also brings in more challenges. It brings in more challenges in terms of more endpoints being vulnerable. And if you look at the summary of attack types on the IoT, OT infrastructure, the largest one being web type attacks, 30%, remote management, 46%. And I think basically as millions of IoT devices remain unpatched and exposed, these start to emerge as a very, very large risk. And we all need to together think about how do we make sure that as we think of cybersecurity, we are not just thinking of cybersecurity at the back end, we are thinking of cybersecurity at the endpoint, at the IoT device level as well. And obviously, if you look at the firmware images analyzed data, which we kind of study, the security weakness is derived from weak passwords, known vulnerabilities, old vulnerabilities, right, which are years old, but they are still not being patched, and obviously presence of dangerous components there, right? Obviously, as we move forward, we know that many of you here, many of the people you engage with as CISOs, they are under pressure to cut costs. The emerging economic landscape is not very encouraging, at least for the short term to medium term right now. And I think all of us are in that thought process on how can we do more with less? What do we do to make sure, on one side, while we make sure that our systems are secure, they are not vulnerable, but we also try to cut costs and do more with less. So obviously the conventional security tools have not kept pace, we all know that. Cost of security breaches is rising. The cost of prevention obviously is much, much lower than trying to fix it post facto. And then obviously resource constraint, all of us, all the companies, everyone is resource constrained. So everyone is under pressure to make sure that the right decisions are taken. And we have heard this theme about cutting costs from everyone, across government, private, everywhere, right? So from a Microsoft security standpoint, what we can help do, and our teams are out there at the booth, is one, simplify your vendor management. Make sure that you are not dealing with too many vendors and running a very, very complex ecosystem internally. Secondly, obviously reducing threats using AI and automation. As I mentioned, we track about 43 trillion signals every day. And I think those happen with the use of the absolute cutting edge AI tools. And obviously the last one is improving efficiency at your end. So what, as I mentioned already, right, organizations are looking at to consolidate vendors. They want to improve their spending bottom line, and they want to deal with less products, less categories, do more with less. If you use AI automation, obviously you end up reducing your risk. You are proactive, you are not being reactive, you're not looking at breaches. The only cost being incurred is the preventive cost of it. And again, the operational efficiency piece, and we have tools available which help you get there. I'll skip this. I think there's some case studies which I think in the interest of time, the timer has turned red. So I think what I would encourage you to do is visit the Microsoft booth. We have people here who would be happy to assist you, provide you more details. And obviously, there are enough tools available on the web if you want to get there. And if you want to request our team for a security, workshop to improve your security posture in your organizations, we will be more than happy to do that for you. So please contact us outside of the booth. And thank you so much Pleasure to be here. And before I sign off, end of the year is coming. Wishing you all a very, very happy new year. And not just a happy new year, cyber secure new year. Thank you so much.